At about 1755 the speaker says, "See, the truth is, it's not they who need to change, it's we who need to change." At about 1543 he talks about the issue of censorship, and goes on to say he believes people should make music about a number of vile acts. He goes on to list. I take issue with these two statements, but don't recall much, if anything else, I disagree with. I am resigned to the fact that people can make music or say just about anything they want, but I don't think that they should. The first statement about who needs to change is deeply problematic for me. It goes to the heart of the problem for black people, and society in general. Too many on both sides have a great white father complex, believing that black people do not have the agency to even control their own actions. Many blacks who play along with this notion do so because they feel, to do otherwise, will play into the hands of political conservatives who will deny the government's role in the social, economic, justice, etc. disparities that exist, and in the government's responsibility to end these disparities. Not willing to acknowledge personal responsibility publicly, for this reason, is one thing, but when it becomes a cultural norm, that is internalized, is something different. He points out all the obvious contradictions that show how exploited we are. Those who claim now to be what is called woke have not exercised the necessary agency to counter this obvious assault. What good is this supposed culture, hip-hop, that is supposed to be so insightful, if it can't produce more tangible results than the previous culture that it supplanted? The truth of the matter is, it is not a new culture. It is the same inadequate culture given a new name. A culture that is highly flawed, most likely because it grew out of the unnatural condition of slavery. Where is the equivalent of this TED Talk coming from black people, that addresses the changes black people need to make? Who is asking us to question why the selling of drugs, to our people, who are already a disadvantaged and damaged people, is somehow an understandable means of survival? Who is asking us to question why drug dealers, especially, are never scolded in the black community, why we never see one show remorse for their contributing to the loss and destruction of lives and communities, why we never ask them to apologize? To the contrary, we accept it as normal, we celebrate them, and then the capitalists exploit it for their profit. We keep wanting to compare ourselves with white people, when we know we are not in an equal situation with them. Basic reality like this, that we don't act in accordance with, is on us. To say that blacks killing blacks is understandable, because people kill people they live near, is short-sighted, to put it kindly. To follow that up with the response nobody talks about whites killing whites is folly. The much higher percentages, in which we kill each other, is the issue, along with the fact that, of all people, we can least afford to kill each other. How can we talk, even rhetorically, about the possible extinction of the black male, out of one side of our mouth, and then utter these kind of deflections, from our complicity in the matter? With all the weapons that white people have, are they talking about the danger of living in their communities, and the numbers of people dying? Are people fleeing their communities because of violence and crime? Do they have a system of oppression working against them? Does not this make us nothing like them? Does not our history make us unique, even among all other Americans? Are we not supposed to compensate for this unique disadvantage we have? A significant number of us, we hear it said often enough with no refutation of it, subscribe to the notion that the white man is the devil. If we want to take this as fact, and paint ourselves as the antithesis of them, and emphasize the notion that is often said in some circles, that we are a spiritual people, how are we to conduct ourselves? If all this is too complicated to understand, then is the idea that us killing us, in the situation we are in, is akin to us fighting a civil war, while being under attack by a foreign enemy, more easy to understand?